If you clicked into this video, chances are you're at a crossroads and you're trying to decide if quitting is the right option. If that's the case, then you've come to the right place, because in this video, I'm going to walk you through a couple things to consider before deciding to quit anything. And hopefully by the end of the video, you'll be able to decide for yourself whether or not quitting is the move to make. Without further ado, let's get into it. The very first thing to consider is something that's very nuanced, and it's trying to figure out if you're putting in a lot of work but you've become unsure of the outcome, or the outcome has become elusive. It's something that you really don't know if you can reach. And I said that it's very nuanced because it's not in every case that this happens that you should quit. You really have to think about it for yourself. This isn't the same as you know what the outcome is but you don't actually know how to get there. That's a very different problem. With this, I'm saying you're putting in all the effort, you're doing the right things, right? But you're really not sure how this is going to end. I mean, think about it. In one scenario, you could be on a slow train that is heading to a specific destination, and you know that no matter how long it takes, you're going to reach that destination. This isn't the case here. In this case, you've gotten on a train that's probably very slow, and you don't even know where it's heading. If that is the case, when you take this together with some of the other points I'm going to discuss in this video, you might be able to get a better idea, a better picture of whether or not quitting is going to be the best decision to make. And the second thing to consider is when you've thought about the outcome is very clear, right? You're here, you know exactly what the outcome is, but that outcome is no longer appealing to you. You don't care about it, you're not interested in it anymore. That could be a telltale sign that, it might be time to start considering other options, because, what's the point of working towards something that you objectively do not care about? That's just a waste of your time. So if you're in this situation where the outcome of this effort is very clear, but you've searched within yourself and you've realized that I just don't care about this outcome, that might also be an indicator of whether or not you should quit. Going off of that, the third thing is when it gets to the point where the sacrifice required to reach whatever goal it is just more than you're willing to make. Staying with our train analogy, right? It could be that I'm on the right train, I know exactly the destination of this train. However, before we get there, I'm going to need to take too many turns. I'm going to need to sacrifice so much of my health. It could be your physical health, mental health, your emotional well-being. You may have to sacrifice your 20s, your 30s. You may have to give up your lifestyle. You may have to move locations, move somewhere else. When you think about all of these things and you're honest with yourself and you say, actually, this is asking too much of me, it's too much of a sacrifice, and I'm just not willing to make it, that could also be an indicator that it may be time to quit. Because in this case, what this is telling you is the goal is nice, but it's not worth it, right? In my case, when I quit medical school, I was like, yeah, goal is nice, but I'm not going to sacrifice basically every other aspect of my life, especially my mental and emotional well-being, on the altar of trying to, get to this goal of becoming a medical doctor. So I quit. If you're in a similar situation and the personal sacrifices are just getting a bit too much, that might be an indicator that it may be time to quit. If you're finding any sort of value in this video, please hit that like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. I'm trying to get this channel to like 20k subscribers, so I really need your help. Just hit that subscribe button. All right, the next thing is something that's actually very, very common. So when you get to the point where you realize that you're only staying in this place or you're only working towards this goal because you're so worried about what other people will think or say, that probably is a telltale sign that it's time to wrap it up, because your entire reason for staying stuck in a situation absolutely cannot and should not be what other people think. I don't know if you're aware of something called the spotlight effect. Spotlight effect is a phenomenon where people tend to overestimate how much other people care, really. So it could be how much other people notice you, think about you, or even remember you. This could be the mistake you made, how you appeared, the decisions that you've made. You think that you're on the stage presenting and the spotlight is on you and everybody is looking at you. But the truth is, people are so busy with their own lives, and even when people talk about you or whatever, notice you, it's only for like a fraction of the time. And then they're very quick to move on to the next talking point or go back to focusing on their own lives. I promise you, you are overestimating how much people are going to think or even remember the decision that you made to quit. So, if you've gotten to the point where you're staying just because, "Oh, what would people say? What would people say?" Wrap it up. Wrap it up. It might be time to wrap it up. Like, just go, because that cannot be your only reason for remaining in this situation. Following closely with that is, if you're only staying because of how much time you've already invested. This is something called the sunk cost fallacy. So the sunk cost fallacy is a phenomenon where a person stays in a situation only because of how much time and effort they've already invested in that situation. This is very, very common with relationships. You're like, but I've already spent 5 years, 7 years, 10 years of my life with this person. Where do I begin? How do I even start to rebuild? Why would I leave after 10 years? Babes, think about the rest of your life. Think about the rest of your life. Compare the rest of the life that's in front of you to what you've spent already, and ask yourself, what is more valuable? There's so many possibilities ahead of you, and I understand it's very human to keep looking back and keep thinking, well, I've already spent 5 years of my life in this career. I already spent 10 years working in this place. Why should I leave now? Think about what's ahead of you. Just think about what's ahead of you. In my culture, so I'm Igbo, there's a name that is Nkiruka, and it translates to what's in front is greater. And that's a philosophy that I live my life by. I firmly believe that I haven't lived the best of my life yet. This cannot be the best of my life. What is in front is miles greater than wherever it is that I'm coming from. So apply that same principle. Believe that what is in front is much better, is miles ahead, is like way above your comprehension of whatever it is or whatever place it is that you've come from. In Kiruka, what is in front is greater. So stop letting sunk cost fallacy keep you in a place where you should have left. You should have left a long time ago. Another consideration is when you get to the point where the bad days have become the norm, not the exception, it might be time to wrap it up. Again, going back to me quitting medical school, the bad days for me really were just the norm. I was so depressed that the good days were so few and far between, between struggling with my mental health and just being in a miserable situation academically. It was too much. It was too much. The bad days, like every day was a bad day. Objectively, every day was a bad day. And that was a signal for me to know that, okay, you know what? It might be time to start thinking about getting out of this situation, because human beings should not live in constant negativity. You really shouldn't live in a constant state of unhappiness and unfulfillment and stress and whatnot. Like, just a constant state of negativity as the norm is not normal. It's not healthy. It's just not good for you. So if you've gotten to the point where every day is a bad day, that might also be a sign that it might be time to quit. Another indicator that it might be time to call it wraps is if you've tried changing the situation or very specific details of the situation, but the outcome hasn't changed. So when you sit and ask yourself, have I actually tried to change what's making me unhappy? And the answer is yes, but the outcome hasn't changed. It might also be time to let go. So some of the things that maybe you've tried changing could be your routine. It could be changing your environment. It could be changing your role or your workload. So think about it in a professional setting. If you're on a specific team and you're really unhappy there, but you like your job, you like the company, you like the work that you do, have you tried perhaps moving to a different team where you can still perform your roles, your job functions, but maybe that environment is different, right? Or maybe if you like the company, maybe you realize that you've recently become unhappy with your role. Have you tried changing roles? Have you tried moving to a different department and seeing if things change? Sometimes the jump doesn't have to be like from one company completely to a different company. Sometimes you could move around within the same company and see if things change. But if you've tried to change these things, right? Maybe try to move to a different branch. So that's like changing locations. Maybe you move from one branch of the company to a different branch and that still didn't improve things. Then maybe that could be a sign that you're really done with this as a whole, with this phase of life, and you may be ready to quit. The next thing is if you're carrying on, with a goal or whatever it is, only because the thought of quitting feels like failure, as counterintuitive as it may sound, it might actually be time to quit. And this ties back to some of the other points that I've discussed in this video, where the fear of appearing like a failure, or the fear of how much time you've put into something, or the fear of what would people think or say, how would people see me, those are not good reasons for you to keep working towards a goal. Those are not good reasons for you to stay in a situation that you no longer want to be in. So if you think about quitting and you're like, I don't want to seem like a failure, I don't want to appear like I failed, it might be time to leave, because that's not a good enough reason for you to keep on the path that you're on. The final point is, if you're constantly fantasizing about an alternative life, it might be time to quit. And I'm not saying when you daydream of what a different life you could live, right? In grad school, there's a running joke that lots of people fantasize about dropping out and opening up a bakery. That's not what I'm talking about. I know that for me, something I fantasized a lot about in grad school is the kind of life I would live when I finished grad school. In that case, imagining the post-grad me served as motivation to finish my program. That's not what I'm talking about here. What I mean here is you're on this path, but you've given very, very serious thought to an alternative life, and that life seems very appealing to you. That might be a telltale sign of what's missing in your current life that can help lead you in the right direction of where you're trying to be. So a very simple common example is, say you have this very high-flying corporate career, right? You have the corner office, skyscraper, whatever. You get the picture, like boss lady, boss man vibes. But every day you're fantasizing about being able to work from home and start your own business and not answer to anybody. That's not really reality, because even when you have a business, you're answerable to your clients and to your customers. But you get the picture I'm trying to paint, right? You're existing in this one life and you're currently fantasizing and also giving very serious thought to a life that is very parallel to the one you're living. These two lives are almost never going to meet. Then that might be a good indicator that, okay, you know what? There's something missing from this current life that I have that I think the alternative option is going to satisfy. When you've given this very serious thought, that might also be an indicator that it's time to wrap it up. It's time to let go. And that's it for today's video. If you're in the 22% of people that watch up to this point, you're a real one and I appreciate you so much. Again, please like the video if you liked it and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Let me know in the comments, is there something that you should also consider before quitting? Is there something that I said that stood out to you and you've never thought about? Let me know in the comments. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, I will see you in the next video.